works. But the saddest part is this is a demon like we are feeding, because I believe Ruto is trying to test waters to know to what extent would you guys take them. But Kenyans, as Jeffy had said, we've not been pushed to the wall to an extent. We said, you know what, this is enough. This is enough. I was lucky enough again today to listen to a preacher online. She was condemning. She was one of the supporters of Ruto, but again, it's good now. She was talking to her congregants and telling them that this is not the government we voted for, because things don't seem to work. And I'm happy that this actually comes from the church. The church is the one that actually brings this up. For me, that is a win. It might not be a war that we will win now, or we will see the fruits. But I believe that in future, or few many years that comes, someone will enjoy this. See, so as John has also said, like, do your little part. Do your little part. I mentioned yesterday on one space that we had gone to Kibra yesterday for a civic education. And I'm not doing this because I'm getting paid by an governmental organization, but because I believe that as citizens, we have the right to know how we should be led, and politicians or people in the office, our employees, are not the other way.
Okay, Collins, we lost you. Can anyone hear Collins?
No, I can't hear him.
Oh my, and the way his submission was really good. Collins?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Where was I? Hello?
You went to Kibra.
Yes. So yesterday we went to Kibra for a civic education, and these are people who are not on X Spaces. These are not people who are on Facebook and all that. And one thing that we actually came to notice was they literally don't know what happens here. As much as we might talk and mobilize and tell people that, you know what, we are a little bit enlightened. But what happens in Kibra is a different world that I wish everybody would wish everybody to go and experience. That is a place where nobody knows the role of an MCA, nobody knows the roles of an MP. And the MPs, I think, take advantage, or the MCAs take advantage of these labs, and they milk the people because there are no washroom. Someone has to pay. Like, tell me one thing. Tell me, how would you pay for 10 shillings to go kwacho? Like you paying. So I assume you had a stomach upset and you have to go to toilet maybe 10 times. You see, in a day, like you have to pay like 100 to go to a toilet. Yet that is a basic necessity to live in an environment that is okay. You see, and there are kids there. So, as Jonas said, do the little you can. And I pray that you don't do most of the things, we don't do them here, because at least we are enlightened. But what happens to people in the machinani hoods? I mean, MP would come, an MCA would come and give them 100 shillings and tell them, you know what, vote for me based on false ideologies or false manifesto, and they would vote. So we still have time. I believe I come from that school of thought that we still have time. The 3 years that we have, do the little bit that you can. Go to the village, go to the slums mostly. Make contacts with people. I think I've made a few contacts, so I'll follow at least for security reasons. Like Kibera yesterday was so hostile because the politicians felt like they are threatened. When you come and educate someone on their rights, the politicians think, you know what, this should not happen. And they would sell tags to just come and try to disrupt the event. So get contacts, mobilize maybe 2 or 3 people, go to the society, teach as long as you teach, even if you teach like 2 people on their rights, teach them on ethical voting. Because the biggest problem, I believe the biggest problem is ethical voting. People don't vote based on ideologies. People vote based on feelings. This one is someone who comes from my village. But at the end of 5 years, or not even 5 years, like now where we are, 5 years has not ended. But we feel the pain. We feel the pinch of voting in corrupt, bad leaders. I land there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Collins, for that. Whose mic is on? Yeah, Collins, thank you for your submission. I think what you found in Kibera is what I have found, is what we found over the weekend in Kimilili, is what we have found in Mashinani. New Horizon, please mute your mic. Is what we found in Embu County, Mashinani. Yeah. It is what we have also found in parts of Nakuru County. It is what we have found in Kajiado, and I can go on. It is everywhere. It mirrors what is happening in especially rural parts of the country. Please follow me. I think there are a few things I know we can work together and do. I have a question for Daktari. Daktari, how can we enlighten? Daktari, can you hear me? Please give me 100 if you can hear me. Beautiful. How can we enlighten the people in the Mashinani, especially about these agricultural bills, because they don't know what we are fighting for. They don't know about them. Please enlighten us. Over to you, Daktari.
Yes, thank you, Steve. That is an important question that has kept coming. And I know most of the time we have always, and not even, maybe to start with, not even on the agriculture bills alone, we all agree that this change message needs to move beyond the elite, beyond the X spaces, beyond the social media, to the last villager in the remotest village of Kenya. Yeah, even the person I had a privilege to visit Loyangalani one time. So this message needs to go to the Elmolos in Loyangalani, who might not know what X is and what X spaces are. So that is number one. And most of the time, we have always been told in most X spaces to do what you can do. Of course, it is important. Yeah, you talk to someone, do it, see how much you can of civic education you can do. But I believe there's just so much you can do as an individual. But there is power in doing it in an organized way. There is a power in doing it in an organized way, and it can be done. The net effect can be exponential. Yeah, as compared to what we are able to do. I can talk to my neighbor, I can talk to my brother, I can talk to one person. But how many of us even have the confidence to talk to your neighbor in a matatu when you're bored to go to town? Yeah. So most of us, I believe that when we begin to organize ourselves and be able to spread our networks beyond the national level, we should be able to have contacts in Loyangalani, contacts in Migori, where I come from, contacts in Homa Bay, contacts in Kisumu, so that through them, now we can be able to even go and talk to the common wananchi there. Because we need, I was telling you the other time that we were speaking to people in a village in Embu called, what was the name of that village? Gidemu. Somewhere in the outskirts of Embu town. And the mere fact that they had that we were, part of the revolutionary movement, we were coming to Nairobi to come and mourn with one of us who had lost the mother. They were listening, they were willing to give us all the airtime just to listen to them. Yeah, but were it not because of that contact we had in Embu, we wouldn't have attended that funeral and we wouldn't have had an opportunity to talk to the people. So it is important that as we strategically organize ourselves, then we will also be. That's why I'm very keen on identifying contacts. Yeah, spreading our wings to the local people. Like, for example, if you get a person who wants to, okay, I have a guy who reached out to me who wants to be a young man who wants to be an MP in a constituency in Meru. And now what we are trying to do is to build structures and a movement around him in that region, so that when we go to Meru, at least we have someone. Yeah, we have someone in Embu. When there is an event, he will invite us to go in Embu. We are now trying to build structures around him. If we wanted to organize a town hall in Embu, in that village, we can go back. You could see that even church leaders were inviting us. Hey, you need to come back. We will invite you to come and talk to my church members. Even the pastor who was officiating that burial ceremony wanted us, has reached out to us, wanting us to go back so that we can go and talk to his church members. You know, so that is the power of being organizing, and then ensuring that we get contacts around the country. And some of it will require resources. Like for you to do a town hall, like what KOT did in Kimilili, it requires resources. So if how many people KOT might have been able to pull it because perhaps he had support from a few of his friends. But how many of us can be able to organize a town hall on their own and connect us on X spaces so that we can be able to interact and inject to the people in the village? Not many of us can do that. But if we came together, yeah, we can be able to, even resources will not be a problem if Kenyans have a way of looking at us and seeing, if they see value in what you are doing, they will support it. So I think, to me, I believe I'm a strong believer in strategic organization as a way of sustaining the protest to the next level, because that is what will now help us even to get this message out of X spaces and go and rally and take it down to the grassroots level and be able to talk to the members there and just, let them also get this message. Yeah. Otherwise, the simple way and a free way of doing it is to gather on X and do it to the same people who have had it over and over again. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, Daktari, thank you for your submission. Very insightful. I had a question though, because it's like we are passing down from one generation to the next. And it's like the problems are coming down, to those generations. So my question would be, we have a clique of people from certain religions that I call, quote unquote, psychophancy. When Raila says something, whether it's good or bad, without interrogation at all, as long as Raila has said it, has to be right. As long as Ruto has said it, has to be right. Now, it's kind of, in a way, being passed down to this generation. And we have these factions. Because in order for us to win, I believe, we have to be united in purpose. This revolution and this movement will work for us faster, better, and efficiently if we are united. But we have a faction for Kasmuel, a faction for Morara, and a faction for others. So my question would be, do you have maybe, according to your own opinion, how do we bridge in the gaps so that we don't pass down this sickness from the older generation to the now young, in order to see the Kenya that we all dream?
Hello. Yes, I lost you for the last minute. I don't know if you could just point yako ya mwisho nimeikosa.
Okay, what I'm saying is, it's like there's a political pattern in this nation. And basically, we vote or we align ourselves politically with the people that come from a certain region. Okay? We have this political affiliations. And I'm simply saying the Gen Zs, the young people, came out on the streets and said, we are tribeless, we are leaderless, we are partless. But moving along during the period of time, we've seen factions and divisions. And I'm like, okay, what is the solution to mending those factions from drifting apart so that we can serve the same common purpose?
Okay, yeah, thank you. I get your point. The patterns have been there, and largely it has been driven by regional politics, tribal politics. This is our party. This is our party. Even in the last election, there was a lot of urge for Mount Kenya was being told, oh, don't invest yourself in UDA. UDA is not your party. Yeah, they were being told, that there was such a narrative. Yeah, and I'm sure after what has happened, maybe Gashagwa would be sitting down and maybe looking back and saying, I wish I had my own party. Such things happen. But what do we do? This morning, I was having a conversation with a few of my former classmates, my former high school classmates in a WhatsApp group. And this is what somebody wrote to me about Raila. He tells me Raila will continue in active politics until his death. And then this next statement is the most critical. Listen to this. He says, some of us are married to Raila's school of thought until we don't trust young people with our political life. Unless it is someone like you, Daktari, or somebody else who are aspiring. I don't know if you get that. But some of us are married to Raila's school of thought until we don't trust young people with our political life, unless it is someone like yourself, Daktari, and he mentioned someone else who is aspiring. So what are they saying? They have never. There's a shortage of alternatives. To me, I think that is it. Because for a long time, if you go to Luo Nyanza, there is no formidable force, alternative voice that has ever come out. So many people are married to ODM, not because they like it, but because that is the voice, what they've had for a long time. And there has always been that narrative that, oh, Raila has been speaking and fighting for the common wananchi and all that. Yes, if you go somewhere else, some other people also have their own thoughts. So to me, I think we will never have a better time like now to be able to build an alternative movement, because right now everyone feels the disappointment. Every Kenyan feels the disappointment that they have gotten from a regime, this regime, that they thought, oh, this is our person, this is a person of God who has been chosen by God, he's a Christian. Everybody is disappointed. And again, Baba, whom we had believed has been the fighter, mwenye anapigania wanyonge, has also decided to walk to join them, and now comes out and tells us that Adani is a good thing. So everyone feels disappointed, and I think to me this is the best time to break this tribal, trend, tribal politics and politics of mtu wetu. This is politics of mwizi wetu, because right now Kenyans feel the pinch of what wezi wao wametufanyia as a country economically. So this is to me, I believe this is the best time ever that we can use to build a tribeless, a nationwide movement that can be able to deliver us or liberate us from that mentality of regional or tribal voting. I can tell you for a long time, even in Nyanza, you've had, even in Luo Nyanza, there are constituencies where Obado was elected in Migori and he was not in ODM. He only had to come back to ODM to please, I think, to maybe for convenience. But he won his election the first time, and their MPs, even in Baba's own backyard, there is an MP who is not ODM. So the greatest number of people who are disgruntled with ODM may not even be from out of Luo Nyanza. And we know how in Luo Nyanza, ODM has even killed the political aspirations of many leaders, many upcoming leaders. because you wouldn't just understand how those nomination tickets are traded when the time comes. I know of even my friends, even not young people, even just watu wazima, unakuja, you invest a lot and the ground is with you, but then things change. So I believe the reason we have always stuck there is because sasa tukitoka ODM tutaenda wapi? You know? But right now I believe we have a rare opportunity to be able to build a people's movement, you know, around ideas, around the problems we were having, you know, around the ideologies, not around personalities. And that is why you think most of them, you've seen a lot of people fighting Morara and all that. It's not that because they don't like him, but people ask them, people see his movement as a one-man movement. I've sat down with people and asked them, why are you attacking this young man? And they tell me, Duncan, you guys, if you're able to reach him, go and sit him down and tell him it is now time to convert this movement from a one-man movement into a people's agenda. Yeah, someone even told us that there's a vacuum because we don't have a people's, movement. For a long time, people felt, most Kenyans felt like, oh, ODM is the only one that is fighting for the common mwananchi. But now they have shown us that they have not. So how do we now take over that place of a strong alternative political movement that can stand and rally people in the manner in which Raila would stand and rally people? Yeah, that's what I believe. I believe we have that chance, and if we properly organize ourselves, Kenyans will begin to see value. Yeah, it might not be done by a few of us. Just need to come, sit down, come up with a very clear strategy, then begin to sell it, and it will move like wildfire. If Ruto was able to rally us in 3 or about the same time, and convince the whole country that there was a hustler and a dynasty narrative, and we believed it, how much more can we do with our numbers if we should sit down and come up with a clear message to pass to Kenyans, and then use our numbers and our energy and our voices and the power of social media to just move it around like wildfire, especially at this time when Kenyans are feeling the pinch.
Actually, I hear you. Thank you for your submission. As we wait for the next speaker, I had asked a question and I wanted to think about the solutions that we have, maybe on the table or available for us. We have seen this, this one person that, being patronized by people. And I've said it's coming down to us. There are people that are just pro Morara, there are others who are pro Kasmuel, there are others who are, we have all those factions. And I was asking, okay, at what point do we get to a solution of uniting this movement so that we can win this battle? But as you think about that, I can see a couple of people. Fabrice, you have your hand up. Please come up, take it away.
Yeah. Thank you, Kei. Nothing. Jeffy, Data, everyone. I think I don't have much to say. Watu wengi wamezungumza. But I just want to comment each and everyone that celebrated Mashujaa today, especially those ambao walikuwa Uhurupark. I can tell you for a fact that this is one of those moments ambao kwamba we are sending a statement. You know, there is a saying kwa, if you want to be seen, you need to stand. And if you want to be heard, you need to talk. In as much as tunafanya civic education, but I tell you, even this kind of activities, protests, it sends also a very strong and clear message to the society. It amplifies the voices, and also it sends message to government pia na hata wale marafiki wa the regime. So that is what we need to keep doing and pushing. Tuesday ni Milimani Court, about the Andani issue, of which I hope that we'll be able to be there to follow about the case. People are not going to protest at the court, but just only going to give solidarity to the petitioners who they stand for Kenyans. Jeff, I just want to touch on a few issues that we were discussing with Daktari about how to solidify the movement. One way to solidify the movement is when we stand on our principles and be guided by our principles. One of the principles is that we don't need to be at the mercy of our oppressor, and we should always be vigilant about distractors. There are some names ambao umeongea, watu kama kina Morara, kina Kasmuel, of which we know very well that they are distractors, and some of them are even traitors. It is not a secret. So to solidify the movement, those are the names that always you have to be calling them out. They can come in wakati wakifikiria kwamba wanataka kujirekebisha, but when you already identify their capacity and their weakness, they don't need to be in a forefront, because those are the people that they can bring distraction. And in a movement, we need to be weeding and rooting out those distractors. Those people, watu kama kina Morara, kina Kasmuel, they do not have any power. They do not have any knowledge. They do not have any brain. They do not have any capacity. It is us that we were trying to mold them and give them platform. But anytime that they are trying to disassociate themselves from us, they are trying to have different ideologies or their ideas. That is when they cease to have those powers that they think that they were having. So the best way to do is to deplatform anyone that is trying to distract a movement. So these are the things that we should be vigilant. Now, we need also to sikae katika personalities. We have to understand that we are standing up for the country, not for personality. When we started the movement, we did not start the movement on behalf of anyone, but the movement was about our country. The movement was about the change that we need. It was not the movement of few individuals. So we should always keep focus and understand that the movement that we are fighting for is about Kenya and not about anyone else. So no one should think that you own the dream of a movement, not unless you are Kenya. So, and we should not be tired of calling out their names whenever they are wrong, and some of them even we need to cut them off completely, because anyone that already go and dine with an enemy, you cannot trust that person to be near you, and that is the reality. It is very painful sometimes to let the person, some people, when you already give trust to someone and they betray you and you want to live in denial. And that is why sometimes you see some people stay in abusive relationship for a very long time, because you don't know when to exit. But we already have abusive relationship with William Ruto for a long time, and we are not ready to jump again into another abusive relationship. The abusive relationship that we have with William Ruto is enough. So we are not ready to entertain another abusive relationship with anyone else. The movement is about numbers. It is not about one individual. So, and there are people that they should not be forced kukua pamoja na sisi. If you are someone that you think your life is more important than the life of those people that wamepoteza maisha ama maisha yetu sisi wengine, then you are not ready to be part of the movement. Wewe tukaa na biashara zako, fanya mambo yako pole pole. even when our forefathers were struggling for independence of this country, there were people, they were very comfortable with the colonial regime of that day. They were enjoying, or they were assuming that they were enjoying the few pennies they were given na kwenda kulima kwa mashamba za wazungu na kukamua ng'ombe. And they were okay with that. But there are those people that they stood for the country and fought. And later, everyone is enjoying the independence. So, wala watu ambao tunasikia kwamba when mkereketwa, we want to bring change, we stand and we march together. Those that they want to be distractors, we just cut them off and then continue with the activities.
Yes, yes, Fabish. I want to bring in data activist, and there's something that you have brought up, Fabish, and I think maybe we have not interrogated the effect of all of these, confusion and division. Because at some point, if you look at it, you project to it, maybe like for some 2 years to come, here we are, we finally kind of find ourselves, we are aligning ourselves to a particular leader, call him A or B or C. And then we realize after some, time, we realize this guy is a sellout. He's been a government's project for a long time. And then we move out of that person and we kind of just get another person who aligns with us. The ripple effect of that is it keeps us so defocused, or unfocused, to the degree that tutapata 2027 imeshafika, we are still grappling with the fact that whether or not we have the right candidate to place there, on the ballot. So I really wanted to address this issue, of, okay, what then do we do right that those that have gone before us have done wrongly? To square is division, we have one movement. Yeah. So as you think about that, data activist, I don't know what you
Jesse, before data activists come on board, allow me to say something after a very brilliant submission by so many of you. I was fighting tooth and nail to just for the preservation, including last night if you're on the space, for the preservation of front runners, people we have financed, and I've been in very many arguments because personally I was saying, even Lynn was on the space yesterday, I was saying I don't want attacks on emerging leaders or people like Morara, because it will suffocate people who have the capacity to lead, but you can't just come up and the next thing you have this flood of humiliation and attacks. And so I was preaching unity at every corner. So last night I'm in the space and I'm defending them and I'm giving them the benefit of doubt. And then after the space ended, and I remember a lot of people had different positions, but in my head I'm thinking we can only fail forward. And then after that, no, we tried to give Baha the mic. and now after his tweet immediately after the space, I realized it's not because he couldn't hear us. He didn't want to pick the mic. At the time, the environment was not conducive because I had been defending them. But as soon as the space ended, he started attacking KOT. I said, no, I don't think you should attack KOT. And now what angered me is because they were lying that KOT had not been part of their team, for which people were pulling out, tweets by Morara saying, I've made KOT the head of what is it called, creatives. And then at the same time, they're recording inside their car to say to disown KOT. Because KOT said, I will stand with the people who are going to Uhurupark. So I texted him and I said, I don't think this is necessary. And I texted KOT, I said, don't attack back. These are people we have supported, but sunshine is the best disinfectant. We get to know people. If people show you who they are, believe them. And now what bothered me was the language. He was trying to he actually called me an idiot. And I was like, wow, after the battle I've put up for you guys, I'm suddenly an idiot. And I think he was right, because I've been fighting for them. And then the next thing, he used an F word on someone else. And at that point, I unfollowed both of them. And then you could tell this was a discussed, like I just came, interjected, we were supposed to have data activist. And you could tell this was a coordinated conversation. Morara could not come forth and say what he wanted to say. So Baha was his mouthpiece. Because first it was Pareno, then I started pushing back, because immediately Pareno attacked KOT. I said, no, KOT, don't fall for this. This is cognitive dissonance. They cannot own up to their mistake. They want to present themselves as saint, and just leave them for now. Just leave them alone. For them, they want to present a perfect picture perfect behavior, and that's why it's crumbling. Then, when he called me an idiot, I just copied Mojara and I said, must be nice. And I copied, I responded. I never hated or insulted any of them, but I tried to just put my foot down on what was happening. And immediately, Baha stopped the vicious attack. And I knew this thing was coordinated. So what bothered me, I asked myself, have we come from fighting sycophancy with an older regime to entertaining sycophancy? Because he was addressing him, oh, boss, isn't boss our leader? I'm like, wait a minute, we don't have a problem with him forming a political party, but we have a problem with his team not listening. He came on space and told us he's human, he's willing to take correction. But at the same time, when a lot of voices were saying, no, I don't think you should start pointing people to Narok, destination is Uhurupark. He said, oh, I'm a leader, I cannot be swayed. And I was like, it's the same problem we're having with the president. It's not listening. And I thought, maybe this is just a hiccup, we will get past it. But innately last night exposed them. Of course, there were so many things we have ignored because we were not looking for perfect people. We know the people will come with their flaws, but last night it was a confirmation there's a problem with this team. I have a ton of DM. I mean, Jeffy, you have heard me. I was back and forth with Fabish last night, just trying to preserve these people. I've had so many DMs with people saying, I think you have a blind side. There's a problem here. And after that experience, I'm convicted. The movement should be supported on a wavelength to accommodate as many people so that we can support emerging leaders and we forget about someone getting ahead of themselves and thinking, unless, especially the tweet that angered me also was when he said a young man says they're not going to Uhurupark and the whole Twitter goes on fire. And I was thinking, wow, these are the same people who have given you the platform and suddenly you have zero disregard for them. So I said, okay, fine. I don't think, for me, it's not about personality. I'm out to, even if it's Jeffy Collins. I mean, Collins, when he was being wrapped up, that's when we marked him and we were looking for support for anyone. So it's not about favoritism. It's about Kenyans and about Kenyans for Kenya, for a better Kenya. So their packaging, for me, I don't think I'm going to even entertain this conversation around them anymore. I even, when he was ranting and calling people names, I realized they are on a self-destruction path. And sometimes you just have to allow people to be themselves for you to see them for who they are. And I said, well, that's fine. I'm okay being an idiot. I stood for the right thing all along. But at the same time, I said, their internal conversation to preserve a status quo that is not out for us. Even when they were saying, have we done enough civic education? There are so many issues that we ignored. So moving forward, we're looking for the likes of Apapa. Apapa is in Bungoma. We had a town hall for Bungoma County. I think I said this earlier. Please, guys, stand up for county spaces. If you want this message to go to the root, we listen to the people of Bungoma and Kimilili tell us about the challenges they're facing. We had one for Mombasa with KOT way before even these people came on board. And there are so many other. We've had Embu. We are out to listen to everyone. There's no favoritism. Wrong is going to be wrong. And that's why I was telling Daktari earlier, we need to mentor. And at the same time, mentoring does not mean suffocating them. It's okay for people to make mistakes. But for people to think that they are above the law, they cannot be corrected. For me, I don't worship people. I do not have capacity to do that. So it looks like this ship is sinking faster than we can afford to save it. But that said, we should focus on the movement. We should, if they course correct, good for them. If not, the movement keeps going forward. So yes, to the question you were asking, I think you were also, I think Jeffrey, at some point I was telling you, you said, I'm highly interested to know what was the urgency to go to Narok. And I said, I think they were trying to prove a point, and pride comes before a fall, because as soon as something went wrong, they started attacking KOT. So I don't think we should put our energy in this distraction, because like last night, we should have been talking about mobilizing around Uhurupark Vigil, but instead, in a short while, they made it about them. But last night was not a good day for them. I hope they've had time to reflect. That said, I'm not encouraging anybody to attack them. That is not the core mandate of the movement. The movement is here to salvage a nation that is so desperate to be yanked from the hands of their oppressors. And before data activists come on board, I've been trying to give the ladies a mic. Allow me to bring Ruby Corner. She's one of those voices that I highly respect because of her level of objectivity and flexibility. And there's what Daktari was talking about, Luo Nyanza. And my parents have been diehards for Raila Odinga for the longest. But we came to a point where they had to part ways because of the decisions were made around supporting a government that the whole country was up against. However, we credit him. My parents credit him for the work he has done over the years. And we totally believe that this was a change maker until I listened to a gentleman called Escowino. And my heart dropped, and I was like, we need to allow many people to speak up, because there's so much we can learn from other people. Because I never want to share his story, because I'd want him to repeat it as much as possible. Because I think the way he explained it and the facts, for me, I was convicted people. So yes, we need to have this conversation, but guys, let's not attack. That's not who we are. In fact, I said, what did I write, Jeffy? There's something I said about character. No, I said character is king. So let's embrace the situation we find ourselves in, but let's be the leaders we want them to become. And so I'll allow you to pursue, so that people who are probably hurt and disappointed and feel betrayed can have their say. And then from there, we dust off and move on. Ruby Corner, the mic is yours.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nathan KE. It's been a long. I'm so happy to join this space. Thank you, Jeff, for
Can anyone hear Ruby?
Yeah, can you hear me, Dacha?
Yes, I can hear her. I can hear her.
Okay.
Okay, let me drop. I think it's me.
Okay. Thank you, guys. It's kind of disheartening to see what's going on. Just jumping into where you guys what you guys have been discussing. So for me, basically, what's happening on the ground, as you say, everybody has been contributing in different ways as this movement started, was very, very encouraging. But I think this is just my opinion. We have to continue with the civic education where people were, that civic education is what was stirring people inside, and bringing that passion and mobilization, and people were ready, to go ahead, because information is power. Knowledge is power. So I think that way where people were going was really great with pushing that civic education. And if we look at, some of the activists that have been older activists, like, Boniface Mwangi, like, Eric Omondi. He joined. I can't say he's been all there, but he kind of joined. They have just been mobilizing, without saying, okay, I'm a leader. And it's kind of been working well into mobilizing people towards some direction without them coming, like, say, okay, and now I'm the leader. And I think that is something that has motivated people, and motivated people to even come on the mandamano that really shook everything. And after that, we had, like, new leaders that came in that hopefully will not divert where people have been going. So I believe that civic education is really, really important before people jump into leadership. Somehow having a leader is great, but it's great into knowing where, starting people where people are going. But at the same time, it's risky at this point. It's about finding the balance. What's the strategy? How can we find a balance in having a leader at the same? Because the moment we have a leader, we are seeing what's going on. Some are being bought, some are being manipulated, and we are seeing that chest thumping and the fisting going on. And you wonder, okay, where is this going to lead? And it's just destruction. It's creating a lot of destruction, because, like, now people are in space, people are just talking about Morara and not talking about, like, the vigil of the, what happened, what should have happened in the Uhurupark, or what is the president doing, or what is happening with the Dani, and all this, and the land laws and the seed laws and all this stuff. It's creating a lot of destruction, and that's what the government wants. So that people don't come together and mobilize. So for me, it's just like maybe following the old kind of mobilization movement from the old activists, and see what can, what's coming from the ground, and eventually that, I hope, might be coming, because right now it's really high. And trust me, like, now the government is really alert, and they're kind of really twisting little by little, and soon nobody's going to be there, to kind of join. It's a strange place Kenya is in right now, because we're in a situation where we don't have a opposition, yet the government is oppressive. What happened right now? You can know exactly what has happened to Baba, like, with all due respect. And I know people always say, like, Baba is a no-go zone, but what is happening now? It's sad, because we just see. I don't know. See, I don't know. Is it Uchawi? Baba has just been swayed. It's being slowly swayed to be on the other side. What is happening? We're in a country where the government has nobody to check on him. Like, is he bought? Is he, like, what is? I'm a little bit confused. But what I know is usually, what I know right now, looking from the situation, I've really been looking at what is going on with Baba, and somebody who was trying to run, went to see Baba, and the moment he got in the house, and this is I wouldn't mention name, but somebody was passionate about running on ADM ticket, and immediately he arrived, he said, like, go and greet Mama. What that means is, like, go give Mama something. So something is what? Something is money. And what is that? That's just bribing, right? And when that person gave Mama, like, 25K, and he was told, like, this is all you have. I mean, I was like shocked, and I say, okay, there we go. It's done. It's a done deal. So, I think we need to credit Baba for what he has done for the country and what. But we cannot just take into like, okay, Baba sacrificed this, and therefore is a no-go zone, and therefore we cannot criticize him, and therefore, I mean, if there are things that Baba has done great, but right now where we are, we know that Baba also is so desperate for this EU seat that he is being pulled by the globalists. He's being pulled by the by the president, and is kind of being, is just mummed there, like he's just somebody who's waiting. He's waiting, and he doesn't probably even know what he's waiting for. Is he gonna get it or not? So he's kind of hanging here, hanging there. He wanna be aggressive, and it's wasting time. And I think it's time for us to just know that I think Kenya is suffering from abandonment, where you just feel like your dad has abandoned you and you don't know where to turn, and you're just like, okay, where should I go right now? There's a confusion with what Baba would have stand for, like something like calling vouching for Adani is just like it's something that is really confusing. But I know he's also being arm twisted by the globalists, and probably the globalists will be like, you do what as we say. And we know that right now Kenya is a globalist playground. They want to test everything in Kenya, and they want to see how it's going to go. And being that Kenyans are so defiant, and sometimes I'm wondering if should people be given civil education on what's happening in Kenya as a country, like, or should we just join people should join the globalist agenda and say, what are you doing to Kenya right now that is affecting our president? Like, what you will be surprised that even what is happening, and I'm not praising our Vice President Rigiji, but you might be surprised that even what is happening with them, that Sako is being influenced by somebody outside, because we know right now that our president is a puppet for the globalist for the global agenda. So for me, it's like civic education, I think, is the most important thing. Educating people what is going on and how this is going to affect their life. Because if you tell people, if we do this, this is going to affect your food. If you do this, this is going to affect your healthcare. And I think that is where mobilization is going to stand, and people are going to unite. And when times come, that leader will emerge. But right now, it is just so risky to say, people coming and say, like, I'm the leader, it's going to create division. It's going to create a lot of propaganda, of which has started, and it's easily being bought. I know it's risky not to have a leader, but it's also risky to point a leader. It's like, because we're on this shaky ground where we feel we're going through that daddy abandonment, where it's like we have been abandoned by Baba, and people just don't know where to stand. So we are just discovering it. You're dumping the streets. You're in the streets. You're learning how the street tricks, how to eat, how to survive, where you're gonna sleep. You don't know whether you're gonna sleep at night or not. So I think we are on this shaky ground where we just don't know yet. And during this time is the time for mobilization, in my opinion. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Ruby. There was brilliant submission as usual. Yes, in fact, I can't remember on what tweet I responded, and I told people Kenyans are going through abandonment issues. Oh, I remember, because the people who ought to be on the forefront, trying to make sure that the country is heading in the right direction, that justice for fallen comrade is achieved, that Danny gets hands off our electricity and airport. In fact, I had a conversation again with Kobino, and he was telling me he was in Homa Bay and he was engaging the community, and they said, "Oh, Baba has said Danny is okay," and they have moved on. So we acknowledge that he's still a very powerful voice in the region. We have utmost respect for him, but at his age, I want to believe he should be looking for legacy, whereby he can burn all bridges just to salvage a country in the wrong direction. At the same time, we cannot put the burden on him. I think also the people who have very high expectation from Baba have abandoned him over the years. They never voted for him, so they don't have a right also to call him out. However, it is for us to move forward as a country, whereby it is everyone's responsibility to steer the nation in the right direction, as opposed to putting expectation on certain individual. Maybe the weight is too much for them to bear. Maybe the seduction of power. I know all money in politics is highly corrosive, but when we look at old people crying for healthcare, then we know it's not a battle we can give up. We do not have the luxury to give up and look back. I was very tempted yesterday, but I know my heart is plugged on the movement, and the only way is forward. So what we need to do is encourage, whenever you see a small flame, fan it to become the leaders. Anyone with leadership qualities or intention or a heart to serve, let's just fan those flames and make sure that we do not miss opportunity to be led by brilliant minds, because when someone raised their voices, we looked the other direction, because people are too used to big names and household name, but that time has come to an end. We just want the right people who can put the country before their interest and things like that. Back to you, Jeffy. Abu, I'm trying to get Abu. Abu is also a brilliant mind, just like all Kenyans. Kenyans amaze me. I've been trying to get him on the mic, but I don't know. Maybe he's working. Maybe he has an engagement. But would be nice to have him on the mic. The rest of you, request the mic. We're trying to have a conversation on how best can we remember our fallen comrades. Yeah, thank you, Abu. I'll not even say anything. As soon as you're on the mic, I will mute mine. We just want to look at what's the best way. Like, hi, Abu.
Fantastic, you guys.
Proceed.
Thank you for the representing our sentiment. The abandonment issue really touched me. I'm walking in the street thinking, where am I going to put my head? It's quite a very strange position we are in. I was looking forward for this Uhurupark thing, and I thought everything was sorted, and we end up in this situation. So I'm thinking maybe we need to go back to the drawing board and see what can be achieved. There was a time before we were high on civil education and teaching people rights. I've seen individual, God bless them, they're in far front. They go to places and speak to people and tell them their rights under the Constitution. And I think we thought it will be a 100-meter sprint, but it seems maybe we are on a marathon, and let's just think how we're going to do that. Concerning Morara, I think we hope he finds his way back home. I think he's when we started giving him titles and names, I've seen him in people calling him Mr. President, and I was a little bit yucky on it, and oh my God, and so this is what I'm thinking. Maybe we should go back on drawing board. I'm very happy. We've got brilliant mind in this platform. Sometimes I hear and I'm just baffled by it. I say, God bless. We have a lot of people who can offer a lot of things. Maybe we should be like a colony and start building our colony in a very well-founded foundation. because we, example, in the platform, we all understand what is needed to be done, but the connect between platform and rural areas is not that good, and that's where civil education comes. We need people who are there. We should give them support, a little bit of there. If you have maybe $3, £3, whatever, let's see what we can do. Send them to buy water, maybe transport and things like that. Print those. There was an individual who was ready to print out constitutions. I think it's a marathon, and let us not be despair. By God, where we are coming from, oh my God, we are coming from very far. Yeah, the only way we can honor our heroes is by fulfilling their dreams. There's no other way we can do that except fulfilling their dreams and seeing that we can look at them children and tell them, we did it for your daddy. We built this nation for your dad. Your dad deserved this country as it is. And by God, we will succeed. I have no doubt about it. It took ANC how many years? It took many movements, years and years to achieve their goals. But patience, working hard, we will achieve. I have no doubt about it. We have young generation, very vibrant ones, and very smart individuals. And concerning a type of Morara people, we should just let them know that where they make mistakes and pull them back. If they don't listen, we should move on and see any candle which is there. Let's shade it and give it, as my sister said, give it opportunity to candle it up to be a bigger flame, and that's all it needs. Let us not be despair. Let's pray. Let's work hard. Let's tell our children. If you're a teacher, tell your students about how beautiful, brilliant our constitution are, how your rights are, and Baba, it's just, I can't believe this man. Oh my! All my childhood, I looked up to him, but we thank him. He has been part of our history and legacy, and we should just honor him on that and forget what he is in his old age and is coming out of the door. So, guys, I brought my 2 cents on the table. God bless you, and let's keep the spirit moving on, and I think we will succeed. God bless, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Very interesting submissions there, bro. Yeah, I can tell you're very passionate. But okay, I have a couple of hands that are up. I want to hear from data activist. You're a co-host. I don't know whether nothing you could add him up, but maybe we can hear.
I've been trying to do that. Allow me to salute Abu. He's been with us from when the wounds were so fresh. I'm not saying that they're healing, because every single day we are picking on scabs, and he did a very beautiful submission. I'm grateful to see you stick on the path to encourage and call things as they are. Yes, it is a marathon. We need to support people who are still putting out constitution. We have Jen Ceremony who does Tusiwa Forget platform, and so many other Kenyans. Every Kenyan deserve an opportunity to lead, because those leaders will not come from the sky above. Those leaders are your brothers, they are your sisters. They are the people you've talked to, and every time they tell you something, you think, oh my goodness, you can do this. We spoke to a lady, data activist, I need you on the mic, was Mwangale 24, 22. When she started, she just had a lot of self-doubt, and we affirmed her. And when we had the Bungoma space, me and data activists were in the DMs in disbelief. She knew her craft. She knew what she wanted. She was challenging her community in her mother tongue. We couldn't even understand, but the language was so beautiful. And she went hard on it. And she got people to speak up about what is ailing them. And at that point, I realized I was not insane to say, let's fund every single promising voice. And from there, even the response from her community, because the day before, it's not that she didn't know what she needed to do. I think it was a bit uncomfortable to be telling strangers what your dreams are and how you intend to pursue them. But we affirmed her at the end of that space, and the next day she was a dynamite. And when people in her community were raising issues, they were actually raising them to her. And one of the cases that we need to still move forward with was that the community in Bungoma, which is Kimilili, which is largely a cane growing area. I saw a documentary whereby when they take their cane to the millers, they have messed up the scale that they do not get value for their money. And that was very painful to hear. And when they do not give up the cane, these people actually come for it forcefully. And we were just listening to the community and collaborating ideas on how that can be done. And by the end of the space, there was cohesion on how we think we are going to stick on that issue to the very end, because if they can actually save their community from being robbed by millers, can you imagine you take cane and they take out something like 40 kgs of or more. So yes, it is important, and I encourage people to come to community spaces, because the challenge I noted, there's a lot of space elitism. So people want to come to the big spaces. And one time data scientist told me, I've come to learn it's not about the size of space, but it is about the conversation in the space. So yes, we need to rally behind the community in Bungoma and Kimilili to make sure that the millers do not exploit them. If we call out the millers of Kina Cabras, Kina Chemelil, and I don't know whether Chemelil is still operational, Mumias, all those guys who are processing sugar and exploiting the farmer, their days are numbers. It is up to us to shine the light in those dark areas that democracy is dying and our people back home are exploited. So don't shy away from those small communities. So data activist, we have Daktari again, but data activist. Jeffy had some questions for you. I'm trying to get you back to co-host so that we can continue to ask these questions. And the rest of you, the space is yours. We are here to commemorate a vigil for fallen heroes and heroines. The fact that they shut us out of Uhurupark does not mean that the spirit to care for them, to love them, dies with this punitive behavior. The suffocated a very good intention to make sure that we honor our heroes and heroines. And for that reason, I think we can commit to make sure that to see or forget or remembering the fallen comrade become a trending topic until they realize they cannot silence us, even if they shut out Uhurupark. Jeffy was among the people who were very upset and dejected because of the treatment he experienced. Maybe I can get back to you, Jeffy, and you can tell maybe people who are joining us the experience, you getting there bright and early, you were there by 6 o'clock, and the pain of being harassed on a day they should just have allowed us to express our pain and anger by remembering these people. Back to you, Jeffy, as we get data activists back on the course.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and I'm not very sure of the the question of whether or not we resonate with the ground as much, because personally, I was present today at Uhurupark at 7. Actually, I went at 7, and there was a little gathering that did not actually call for any police, action. And because there were very few numbers, a tear gas, just tear gas, canister would get to disperse the whole of you, and they were like, okay, where are you guys? We're supposed to come here, commemorate and celebrate our, departed comrades. So for me, I was like, do we talk so much that doesn't align with our action, and we walk the talk? But that that aside, I think it kind of just gives us this challenge of, do we have to modify or think about new strategies of how we want to bring this, the whole of draining of the swamp idea? It can't happen with a small population. We have tried for a long time now, I think, to be very civilized and be very constitutional about it, to be very law-abiding citizens, and we cry out on the streets, we are peaceful, and yet we are provoked every time. So I think maybe we are getting to a point where, it's funny that we are advocating for the constitution that the president actually stood against in 2010. He voted against it. So I'm like, do we expect him to align himself with the constitution and come under it if he objected already? But that having been said, I don't know whether data activists, you've got yourself into a place where you can speak to us.
Yes, I can speak, Jeffy. Thank you. Let me speak to your last comment on the constitution first. And this is something that was analyzed. Guys, go to YouTube and see what happened during the swearing in, when he was given the instruments of power. The constitution was kept down, but when he was given the sword, he lifted it up. So someone analyzed. I think it was Omukia. I'm not too sure. I need to confirm that, and told us what that means. Why would you put down the constitution but raise up the sword? And it speaks to the scenario we are having now. You respect the sword more than the constitution. And Jeffy, you're spot on. He was not for the constitution, so he will not be for it now that he's in power. And that is what we are saying. Then I want to speak to something that Nothing was talking about leadership and Morara, and something I've been saying, speaking about in a number of spaces. Leadership, I believe, is about the people. It's the led, not the leader. And when we are here, we are the voice. We are speaking on behalf of the voiceless. We represent them. It's not about us. It's never about us. It is about them. And so we need to know what